Welcome, Joanne Bartholomew. Joanne or Joanna?
Joe's fine.
Joe's fine. Bartholomew, welcome to the Whitehead Files. We are going to talk about Caitlin and Claudia, or is it Claudia and Caitlin?
I don't think it matters.
Build a school. That's the name of the project. Claudia and Caitlin build a school. Now, from my perspective, I discovered them online on social media. These two lovely, sweet-faced young ladies over in Africa, specifically Ghana. Not much on the ground, not much on the land. And they were like, we're going to build a school here. Little snippets of video, little stills on the Twitter feed. And I thought, these young ladies are fabulous. Let me keep an eye on them. And that was, excuse me, that was at the beginning of 2020. And of course, with my Global Goodwill Ambassadors head on for the foundation, I was thinking, okay, Sustainable Development Goals, number 1 for no poverty, and number 4 for quality education, because they wanted to build a school. Pandemic hit, fast forward, still supported them. The school has been built, my goodness. But I want Joe to talk about the story and how it started. Because Claudia's your daughter. How did it kick off? Over to you, Joe.
Well, I think the best way to describe it is the shock I felt when she walked downstairs in late 2017 and said she booked a flight to Ghana, because that's clearly what you do with your life, isn't it? But it probably started in 2017 when one of Claudia's friends had sadly died. And for her, I think that was a big turning point in thinking about only doing things that made her happy and made her feel as if she was giving. So she decided she was going to take a bit of a break from college, and she left college and she went into work and started to save like mad to go to Ghana. The intention was she was going to go out for 4 months and do some voluntary work. She went on a really well-organised programme and left to both mine and my husband's sort of shock. She packed herself up and off she went for the 4 months. And about 6 weeks in, she'd been doing the usual volunteering stuff, Carol, you know, the malaria clinics, the working in the small nurseries. And she was at a school. And at the end of the school, the main school building was a tiny little building, the sort of thing that me and you would have our car and junk in, really. And she found a special school, and that was where the special school for the district was. And in itself, that's quite unusual because there isn't a lot of special schools in Ghana. And Felicia, the head teacher, was doing her very best with virtually no resources whatsoever to look after these young children. And Caitlin came out at that point in time, and for the last 6 weeks, Claudia and Caitlin focused on building some SEND resources, so sensory type resources, getting some skills equipment, so sewing machines, braiding heads, so that they could learn some life skills, and really focusing on what they could do in their remaining time. And then before you blink, she was due to come back. And I remember going to Leeds Bradford Airport thinking, well, she'll have got this out of her system. And while she was out there, she fractured her knee and dislocated her ankle. So she wouldn't come home, but early with it, but she came back and she walked through the gates at Leeds Bradford Airport. And her first words to me were, "Don't get used to me being home. I've told them I'll build a school, so I'm going back." And
wow.
And here we are in 2022, and they've built a school. 3 classrooms, sensory room, school that any of us would be proud of. They've provided not only water via a borehole for the school, but also for the wider community. And it's given that real sense of inclusion. They're out there at the moment, which is why they can't talk to you, because their internet's horrendously sporadic. They're out there at the moment. They've taken 100 kilograms of luggage out to fill and create a proper sensory environment with lights, soft play, stimulating equipment for the young children. Because I know we are consistently fighting in this country for better support for SEND families, but out in some other places, in particular in Africa, in Ghana, there is no support. So there's no social health system. Very few.
There's also, from a cultural point of view, because there are different tribes as well, there is the stigma.
There absolutely is. And one of the things that they did very early in 2020 when they were out there, when you first started following their journey, was alongside Felicia, they went out into the community, to the churches, to the mosque, to the community elders, going miles and miles to speak to families who they knew had SEND children that weren't in school, to encourage them to send the children to the school. And I know you have the video, which just shows it's full of children running around is the video. So it just shows the success of that approach, but and the consistent reassurance that you have to give to the families that it is worth educating their child and worth giving them some skills as well. I do remember Claudia saying to me that how important this was to her, not only from an education perspective, but from a life perspective, because for some of the young children, particularly the profoundly disabled young people, their future is begging.
Yeah, I know.
And so this is a way to break some of that cycle.
Yeah, definitely. And that, is a historical thing as well in relation to begging. So when did she meet Caitlin?
So she met Caitlin about halfway through her first period in Ghana in 2018. Caitlin comes from Cornwall. So when Claudia's at home, Claudia works as a learning and behaviour mentor in an SEND school in the UK. Caitlin works for Disney as a youth entertainer in America. So very different, but they both gelled around this common goal. So and even during the pandemic, when they unfortunately had to come back from Ghana, I mean, that was, as a parent, that was absolutely heartbreaking to see them both save and save and save when they came back and taught to architects and get the land sorted, then give their jobs up. Claudia sold a car, Caitlin sold nearly everything she had, and they went to Ghana with the visas and the intention of being there for a year. And then 4 months later, they had to come home because of COVID. And at that point, as you well know, there was just the foundations were just out of the ground. And I think they were heartbroken on many levels at that point.
Yeah, because it was at the mercy of the elements as well.
Yeah, and just because Ghana is a hot country doesn't mean it's not without its difficulties. I mean, it has significantly long rainy periods, which are incredibly destructive. And they just got to a really important point in the build. And then they've managed it remotely from 4,000 miles away.
Well, let's have a look. Let's see if we've got any pictures of the build. Let's see what I can muster, because I know there's one or two pictures. Let's see. Oh, you said borehole. You mentioned borehole.
Oh yeah, so the borehole
with all your jargon now. Oh, with something borehole. Goodness.
This is a brilliant picture, and it's so typically Ghanaian, because here's the guy with the borehole equipment, which, if I remember correctly, the borehole equipment had to come from Accra, which is like 4 or 5 hours away.
Yeah.
And kicking off a charity that in the early days supported Claudia and Caitlin now support them. They're a grassroots football charity in Ghana. Right. They helped source the borehole and the borehole driver. But I just love his hard hat and no shoes approach to digging a 200-metre hole.
A bit of a health and safety issue there. So there's 2 pictures of the borehole. Let's see. Oh, and that's not like that now, but that is basically where we were expecting to put the school.
So that is no longer there. That is where the school is now.
Yeah.
A lot of negotiation in that. So a lot of travelling to Kumasi to negotiate with the education committee, a lot of talking to the village elders about the land, lots of talking to the church.
Whose land is it?
The land belongs to the community. And they have a signed document to agree that the school can go on there, which took quite a lot of getting to. So we think our planning system's complicated over here, but there was a much more difficult path to negotiate with talking to the right people, and which I think they did admirably. I don't think I could have done it.
No. I mean, because we know, because how far they've come. So so the pandemic's here, and it's like 2020 and going through 2020, and it was just quite, oh goodness me. And then 2021, that could you go, could you not? Because of course there was the variants dropping in, there was COVID, and then there were different variants. What kind of work was going on? Because of course they must have been in contact with somebody over there to get things moving slightly.
So all the time they were continually on WhatsApp. I think nearly every night Claudia was on WhatsApp with Felicia, messaging her, as you know, because we can't speak to her, that the internet is extremely poor out there, the connectivity. So this was basically build a building via text message through WhatsApp. The biggest bit that happened in 2021 was the roof going on, and that was a real sort of point when it finally looked like it might be a building. But I remember we had some friends, Dean Tracy, who ran a marathon to raise the money for the roof, and Dean raised the money for the roof with the pre-COVID prices for the roof, and then when the pandemic hit and the supply chain got hit and materials went up, the roof was 3 times the money raised. So it took them a while to raise the additional funds to get the roof on. But the roof going on was a real key point. And then for me, the other point that I feel that the girls started to think that it would be something that was going to get children in was when the doors and the windows went on, and that made it a proper building. And I know there's been a lot of tears while they've been out there this last couple of weeks when they walked through the door and they saw it, because it's actually a massive building. No, you can't sort of get, it looks great, it looks really good, because I was thinking only 3 classrooms, must be more, but they're good spacious classrooms, aren't they? They are spacious classrooms. If Claudia was here, she would say with SEND children, you need to give them the space to be themselves. That's why there's a lot of space in the sensory room, which allows you to run, and there's a swing in the sensory room to make sure that children have the experience they want in that, so they're not like the classrooms we would expect. But also having bigger classrooms allows a better airflow, because it's absolutely baking hot out there, and there's no way struggling to afford the electric for computers, let alone the electric for some air conditioning.
Well, let's have a look, and let's have a look at the sensory room. She's a joker, isn't she?
That's Caitlin, yeah. So that's the sensory room, and that's a classroom that we're seeing now. So the sensory room has been finished off completely as well, Carol, and I do think you've got a video somewhere of that. This was where she put the wrong words on. Neither of them appear to know their alphabet.
I think the next one is the one whereby it's a bit longer and she goes through all the different bits.
She does.
Let's hear what she's got to say. Yes.
Hi, I'm Carol and I'm from watching Whitefield Upfield. We are in Ghana. We're just getting to grips with our sensory room. It's all a bit messy at the moment. As you can see, we're organising it into sections. So, got two other classrooms. This is gonna, they're like the main classrooms. This is gonna be our sensory room. This is kind of our biggest project. So, what we're planning to do is have all different sensory objects around the room for the children. So over here, we've got like a little mirror wall. Where the rug is, we've got some bean bags being made. We're hoping to turn this into the calm corner. We just started putting up some lights today. These are flashy, like so. They all change colours, so they're going to be very, very popular with the children. Find some lights up here around the top sofa. Some mirrors, a little mirror wall over here. We've got a few of these that we are going to have down on the floor, probably either in this corner over here or this one, along with some play mats down here, which is probably going to go over here with all the other bits and bobs that Claudia's doing. She's doing a grand job over there. And we've got lots and lots of stuff to pop on the wall, as we have here. But yeah, the aim of the game, once this is done, is that the children will have a room they can come into that will help them, obviously, with any needs they have, and they can obviously stimulate it nicely. And yeah, there's not really anything like it. There's not really even a special needs school or anything in Nkoko Ghana, let alone a sensory room. So yeah, we'll let you know when we've made progress and when it's finished. Hi guys, just showing you progress from day 2. This is our got loads of things done today. So we've got our mirrors up here and our lovely lights. Some more lights up here, we've got colours, some tan things, we've got our felt wall, our bingy boards for fine motor skills, more mirrors, pattern mirrors, lots of colours. We have our swing up here. It's not really a swing, it's more like a little hammock there. We've got our calm corner, waiting for our bean bags there. Mirrors, our touch lights are working. We have our sensory trays and our prompt words. Here. And then we have our floor bit on the field. Yeah, that's it.
Well, I'll tell you something. I'd like to go to that sensory room. Isn't it wonderful?
It is, isn't it? And I think you've actually got a little video clip of Samuel using the sensory room and just seeing how he can focus his attention. Samuel was in one of the earlier clips dancing, and is a bit of a legend, is Samuel. He's always happy, but like a lot of children in Ghana, he has a lot of health issues. And in 2020, when the girls got out to Ghana at that point, Samuel had been left with a broken leg for about 2 months because the family couldn't afford to have his leg mended. So
I saw a picture of him.
Seeing him enjoy the sensory room is wonderful to see. And that isn't another thing that the girls do, is that they've provide the funding to get the health insurance for the children, because health insurance in Ghana isn't free, healthcare isn't free, and families with a number of children tend to not prioritise their special needs children for health insurance, so tend to not seek medical attention for them. So one of the other streams of work that both of the girls do is raise funds to support the medical needs of the children.
Oh, that's really, really good. So I want you to sort of, the opportunity, you know, the people out there in Ghana, because I know there's a painting company that painted everywhere. apparently. What's their name?
So CIB Painting had a big offer to come and paint for us, but the volunteers in the community got there before them. But they absolutely must give a big shout out to them, because do you know what? The girls tweeted and messaged so many multinationals, even asking for things from tape or anything. And the only company to come back to the girls was CBI Painting Professionals in Ghana, which is a very small local painting company, and they were the only people to reach out, and they continue to reach out to the girls to see what support they can bring. And that it's incredibly heartwarming to me that an organisation that's just starting their business in a very difficult climate, in a very difficult economic situation in Ghana, is the one that reaches out.
Yeah, do you know what? You seem to find that not just in Ghana, sort of in here in the UK, your SMEs, your small medium enterprises, and your micro SMEs, they're the ones that seem to, and their donation and their give is greater in proportion to what they have.
Absolutely, Carol. I couldn't agree with you more. There are, like yourself with the Zebra Partnership, but also Ikebama, who runs Equipped for Learning, which is a very small charity that does work. People like that, Stephen Daly, who's reached out from the Living by Giving Trust. It's incredibly difficult to get even a raffle prize out of a large multinational, but getting small organisations to support you, even if it's just supporting the girls by retweeting their messages, I think has been heartwarming.
Well, this is my shout out to large organisations. Put something forward, give something back, retweet, follow, and donate, and respond to some of these small organisations that are doing some fantastic things. Recognize them and acknowledge them. That's one thing I don't understand. Why not? Are they so far removed that they can't actually engage? You know,
I think it's because everything's become quite bureaucratic in a process. To try and get some painting and decorating tape to tape around the windows required a 3-page form for a donation from somewhere.
Wow.
which then never resulted in anything. And I think it's incredibly difficult to engage with the right people in the right organisations. I also think larger organisations don't empower local either franchisees or the local manager in the local store to just do the right thing sometimes. I see it with a lot of UK-based charities. I saw a tweet the other day that Claudia and Caitlin had retweeted where an organisation had just walked around trying to get raffle prizes and couldn't get any raffle prizes.
Yeah. And then there was the starter pack one as well. They retweeted that where it was like, well, we could use those starter packs if you've got any spare starter packs. They were school starter packs.
I think one of the things that the girls are very keen to do is if any SEND settings have got old equipment where methods and support has moved on, they're quite happy to take it off their hands, because obviously there's not any precedent in Ghana about using the latest methods for support and teaching. So any equipment of that nature, be it, Makaton stuff, number and literacy, or outdoor play equipment, or soft and tactile play equipment, they're quite happy to take it off their hands, and will no doubt be reusing my garage as a warehouse storage again once they get back.
Well, that's important, because they'll have something that's probably got, based on their processes, 3 years, and then they've got to change it. Where does that go? I remember a few years ago, and this is just in this country, there was equipment that we took to community centre so that it could be distributed to particular areas that couldn't actually get that equipment, play equipment, sensory equipment, and so on. That there was nothing wrong with it. It was just that they'd had it well, we've had it since for 3 years and then we have to change to this. It's like, well, why?
Yeah, absolutely. So they're happy to receive all of that, and I'll be happy to store it in my garage until they can take it out.
What I wanted to say, and I mentioned it off camera, and I'll say it to you, with a CIC, the thing with the CIC, when you're filling out the CIC form to set up a CIC, they say, who is your, if you happen to fold or close, you have to name a beneficiary organisation to receive your equipment and all the things that you have in relation to your organisation. That's a really good way of recycling, reuse,
Absolutely,
and passing it on. So if any organisation there, if they want to put down, you know, Claudia and Caitlin build a school for their beneficiary, put that down in that box and put the name down. You know, we can always pass on the details. What's the have they got a Facebook page?
they do have a Facebook page. It is Claudia and Caitlin Garner 2020.
Claudia and Caitlin Garner 2020, and I know it's Claudia and Caitlin build a school, which is on Twitter, and the actual it's at Claudia and Caitlin 1, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
And Caitlin is spelled, don't fall in my trap, Caitlin is spelled CAITLYN.
Well, that is my fault, because when I was helping them set the Twitter up, I spelt it wrong on the Twitter because I've got horrendous dyslexia. So I spelt it wrong. So Caitlin's actual name is spelt with 2 I's, but on the Twitter, you're quite right, it's spelt with a Y.
Right, okay. I spotted that and I was like, because I've taught a couple of Caitlins, you see. So I was like, oh, I've never seen it spelt like that. Right, okay. So what I'm going to do is let's see these children. I'm going to they're just a joy to watch.
You're going to play the video of the opening.
I think it's the opening. Is it where they're doing all the dancing?
Yeah, it's them getting ready for the opening ceremony, which was last Thursday.
Right, okay. Let's see if I can.
Hi, I'm Carol and I'm watching at Whitehead. We are in
That is not the one.
We're just getting scripts of our sensory room. It's all a bit messy.
Talk amongst yourselves. I've got it written down. 980 is that one.
Oh, it just makes you smile, doesn't it?
There's some funky movers there, isn't there?
It's like Caitlin said, if she lives to be 100, she'll never be as cool as them.
that was absolutely.
And it's wonderful to see, because the children at the school range from profoundly deaf right through to cerebral palsy. A high proportion of the children at the school have got autism and Down and have a diagnosis of Down syndrome. So it is wonderful to see them all enjoying themselves.
It is. It's really, really nice. And I want to say as well that so I donated, and I'd forgotten I'd done this. I donated for a desk. I just thought, you know, that's nice to have a desk. Did not realise that I'd get a plaque on the desk, which with my name on it, which when I saw it last night, I was like, so in tears of joy, because then I saw Sarah, the lovely young lady, the schoolgirl, sat at the desk proudly in there, because it's like a peach uniform they have, don't they? The girls have peach dresses and the boys have peach shirts with khaki trousers, with khaki shorts. So smart. They love that, you know, they love their uniform. And to see Sarah sat at the desk with, you know, it was Carol Ann Whitehead desk, which is so nice. But what have you just told me today?
So I've told you that you've forgotten that you sponsored 2 desks. So you actually sponsored one from yourself and one from the Zebra Partnership. So you've missed the photo of Gideon sat at his desk.
All right. Well, we'll find that and we'll share that as well, which will be fantastic. Yeah. So that is so nice. So I've got two pupils, and at some stage it would be nice to, if their parents are okay with it, it'd be nice to have Caitlin and Claudia and Sarah and Gideon to talk to them, get to a Wi-Fi zone that's working, and we can have a chat. Or they do a video, send a message.
I'll get them to work on sending you a message, but I've got some quite exciting news, which is that I'm going out next year with Claudia to Ghana. Yeah, I've been given permission. I did say this year, oh, I'll come with you. And she went, no, you won't. It's mine and Caitlin's, we'll do that. So I'm going out next year. So
that's great. But you can put your electrician skills to work.
I can do, yeah. I'll see if they need some more lights. I think the focus between now and next year, Claudia and Caitlin were telling me, is to just get the school to bed in and work out what they need.
Yes.
And then they'll update the Amazon wish list accordingly with what they need, and then to take that back out again early next year.
Okay. So finally, to wrap up, I want you to tell there's an Amazon wish list.
There's an Amazon wish list, and there's a Just Giving site for the girls. The Amazon wish list buys equipment that we can get together, and the girls then can take out to Ghana to support particularly the sensory room and learning. And then the Just Giving site is to focus on money at the moment for provision of external play and any repair and maintenance that's needed to be done.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Carol.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. I called myself, viewers and listeners, I called myself a cheerleader for the past 2 years for Claudia and Caitlin build a school. That's what I call myself, the cheerleader. But today we have had head cheerleader Joanne Bartholomew, mother of Claudia. Okay, she's been with us today for the Whitehead Files. This has been a very lovely episode. Thank you for joining me. I'll see you soon.